do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 ba do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 ba do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 ba do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 ba do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 ba do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do yeah. Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do, a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do do do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, do ba do ba do. A do 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 do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do 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 ba do, yeah. Do ba do ba do ba do, ba do ba do ba do ba do. Do ba do boo do, a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do do do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, do ba do ba do. A do 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 do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do 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 ba do, yeah. Do ba do ba do ba do, ba do ba do ba do ba do. Do ba do boo do, a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do do do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, do ba do ba do. A do 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 do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do 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 ba do, yeah. Do ba do ba do ba do, ba do ba do ba do ba do. Do ba do boo do, a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do do do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, do ba do ba do. A do 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 do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do 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 ba do, yeah. Do ba do ba do ba do, ba do ba do ba do ba do. Do ba do boo do, a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do do do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do, do ba do ba do. A do 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 do, a do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do ba do ba do, a do ba do ba do 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 ba do, yeah. Do ba do ba do ba do, ba do ba do ba do ba do. Do ba do boo do, a あぶばるばるぷぷばるあるあるばるばるあるばるばるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるあるばるばるるばるばるあるるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるるるあるドゥバルバルバルバルバルバルバルルバルブルあぶばるばるブブバルあるあるばるばるあるばるばるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるあるばるばるるばるばるあるるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるるるあるドゥバルバルバルバルバルバルバルルバルブルあぶばるばるブブバルあるあるばるばるあるばるばるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるあるばるばるるばるばるあるるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるるるあるドゥバルバルバルバルバルバルバルルバルブルあぶばるばるブブバルあるあるばるばるあるばるばるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるあるばるばるるばるばるあるるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるるるあるドゥバルバルバルバルバルバルバルルバルブルあぶばるばるブブバルあるあるばるばるあるばるばるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるあるばるばるるばるばるあるるるるあるばるばるあるばるばるばるばるあるばるばるるるある
Ladies and gentlemen, before we start, I would like to remind all of you please stay with us till end of the program. We have a quiz and lucky draw session at the end of the event and exciting prizes await winners. Thank you. Thank you to each one of you for being here with us today. We are pleased to be able to welcome those of you that have been with us for a long time now, as well as those who are new. A very good evening and warm welcome to our guest of honor, Ms. Lisa Kamal, the international public speaker, our respected advisor, Mr. Muhammad Shariza, the president of APAC, Mr. Faris, the Vice President of APAC, Mr. Sharvin, the Program Coordinator, Ms. Sophia, and the audience. Welcome to the sharing session. It is my honor to be your MC tonight. I'm Tibyashini, and Ms. Adlina will be our moderator for the event. To begin the ceremony with a blessing from Allah, I would like to invite Mr. Nizam to lead the dua recitation and a moment of silence.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم إن اللهم إنك خلاق العظيم إنك سميع عليم إنك غفور رحيم إنك رب العرش العظيم يا الله all praise due to you. You are the one who deserves all praises. You are the one who deserves all gratitude. You are the owner of authorities. In your hands are all goodness. To you all matters return. Allahumma ya Karim ya Rahim, grant us your mercy and compassion on this sharing session program which is held tonight. Bless this ceremony from beginning till the end. Ya Zalzali wal Ikram, we also seek protection from you from all things that may tarnish our ceremony and from all things that will hinder us from obeying you. To you alone we lift all our affairs. ربنا عليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Mr. Nizam, for the dua. May our event tonight run smoothly and be blessed. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to call upon the program coordinator, Ms. Sophia Kamal, for an opening speech. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera dan salam Malaysia Baharu. A warm welcome to our honorable guest for today, Ms. Lisa Normarini binti Muhammad Kamal, our respected advisor Encik Muhammad Shahrizal bin Nasir, our class president Muhammad Faris Akmal bin Abdul Rahman, our talented finalists, and respected audience. Ladies and gentlemen, thankful to God for giving us the opportunity to gather on this peaceful day for the success of the A Brief Generation, a Potential Generation program today, organized by the Basic Public Speaking Class C, KKN 10303 2021 to 2022, University Sultan Zainal Abidin in collaboration with the Student Holistic Development Center, BPHP. First of all, I take this opportunity to congratulate the facilitator of Basic Public Speaking C, Mr. Muhammad Shahrizal bin Nasir, all the committee members and participants involved in the success of this A Brief Generation, a Potential Generation program with high cooperation, team spirit, and strong commitment given by all parties involved. Next, I would like to congratulate all 45 members of the program committee consisting of various courses who have together made this program a success and received a warm response. I would like to thank everyone present on the online platform for willing to spend time together today. This council will not be possible without the support of those who are willing. Thanks again, I say. My esteemed audience, the purpose of this program is to unearth hidden talent. However, some of them are ashamed to showcase their talents due to lack of high confidence with the public as well as in front of the camera lens. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great hope that this planned program will be able to benefit all parties and increase awareness of the importance of book culture and knowledge among us, especially students. I, as the secretary of this program, hope that the event this time can benefit all students and guests present. Hopefully, this ceremony can further strengthen the relationship between us and the goal of this program can be achieved. Finally, I would also like to take this opportunity once again to thank the guests who willingly attended and took the time to attend the A Brief Generation, a Potential Generation program, to thank thousands for the cooperation and concerns of all parties involved, either directly or indirect. That's all from me, Ani Sofia binti Muhammad Kamal, Secretary of the Basic Public Speaking Class C.
That was a wonderful speech. Thank you for the warm opening speech, Miss Sophia. Now let's move to our next agenda that we all have been waiting for. Our sharing session today is about improving our speaking skills. Speaking skills are one of the most important skills we learn as they allow us to communicate with others and also express our thoughts and feelings. Speaking skills can be separated into informal and also informal, and we use both speaking skills in a variety of contexts throughout our life. Wisely use strategies to perform at your best with your speaking skills. I'd like to pass the program to our young moderator, Ms. Adlina, and she'll take over the session.
Thank you, Miss Tivia. Assalamualaikum and greetings to all of our Facebook and YouTube live viewers. Thank you for your willingness to spend time with us, both to provide input and to listen to what our amazing speaker will have to say tonight. Without wasting any time, I'd like to begin tonight's sharing session by introducing a special guest speaker who has been brought in especially for you. Our guest speaker tonight is Lisa Nurmarini Muhammad Kamal, who is better known as Lisa Kamal. Lisa Kamal graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Geology from University of Wisconsin-Madison as a Petronas-sponsored student. Lisa received numerous honors for her academic work, including the Lowell R. Loudon Outstanding Junior Scholarship Award from the Department of Geoscience and Onto the Future Award from the Geological Society of America. She was awarded a 2019 Hilden Undergraduate Research Fellowship to study electron beam damage on carbonate standards. She is currently working at Petronas Carigali Senior Berhad and learning to be a better geologist. In her free time, Lisa enjoys writing and playing guitar. She has recently published her poetry book titled Quiet Companions in 2022. So there's a quick summary of Lisa Kamal's background that I can share with all. With all due respect, I now welcome our respected invited guest to begin this sharing session. Miss Lisa, I pass the speaker over to you.
Thank you so much, Adina. Before I begin, I'd like to give my highest of appreciation to Adlina, Sophia, Faris, Divya, everybody behind the scenes for keeping the program running, organized it, and invited me over here. I'm very, very excited to be sharing with you tonight. So, hello, good evening, Assalamualaikum, everybody. My name is Lisa Kamal, and my session tonight will be on the topic of how can I improve my speaking. For this presentation, for this sharing session, I have a few basic, tips that you can pretty much find when you Google basic public speaking tips. But I also prepared a few approaches that I personally take that I would like to share with you on how I start crafting my speech, on how I think about public speaking, and how I aim for success when it comes to public speaking. I see the comments coming in, so I'd like to say hi to everybody viewing in from Facebook and from YouTube. Very good evening to everybody. So before I properly begin, I like to give a little background of myself. As mentioned earlier, professionally, I am a geoscientist. I graduated in 2019 from the University of Wisconsin-Madison with a Bachelor of Science in Geology. Currently, I'm working as a geologist at Petronas. For those of you who don't know, geology is not really a very popular major course of study. But it is the study of rocks and earth science. So that is a picture of me on one of my field trips. We go on a lot of camping trips and field trips to look at rocks in different locations. It was definitely challenging for me. I'm not very much an outdoors person, but you got to do what you got to do, So that was the gist of my university experience. But during my free time, I really enjoy poetry. I enjoy writing poetry. I enjoy performing spoken word poetry. So the picture that you see up here is a picture of me during the 2017 Causeway Exchange Slam Poetry Slam. And this was a competition between Malaysia and Singapore. So I was lucky enough to be one of the finalists representing Malaysia. And down here, you can see that, as mentioned also, I just recently published my own poetry book titled Quiet Companions. On the right here, you'll see a picture of me seeing my book in MPH for the first time. And it was super, super exciting because it was so surreal, You never thought that you'd see a published work with your name on it, the bookstores of MPH. So it was a really exciting day for me during that time. To keep you guys excited, I also do plan on sharing a poem from my book, Quiet Companions, so stay tuned to the very end. Okay, so that is roughly an introduction about myself. But back to the topic of public speaking. Most of you know me not as a geologist, not as a poet, but as a public speaker from the video during my graduation speech, as you can see here in the picture. My graduation speech garnered attention that I did not expect. To be very honest, after I was done with the speech, I was like, okay, that's a wrap. Time to rest and focus on my final exams, because my graduation was actually before my final exams. And then the wonderful Malaysians back home managed to get the video going viral, and everybody back home got to see it. And it led me to amazing opportunities such as this one, the opportunity to share my wisdom or whatever that I've learned with students like you. Because not very long ago, I was once in your place. I was just a student like you, and I was just figuring things out as well. So take it from a not so old senior, I hope, for me to share my experience. My public speaking journey actually started when I was 12 years old. I joined my first public speaking competition when I was in Standard 6, and I was able to compete against students in my zone. During that time, it was in Zone Kramat. That was the first experience I had during public speaking, and I learned a lot from my teacher back then. She trained me on how to think out of the box, how to articulate my words clearly, and my love for public speaking only grew since then. I then joined more public speaking competitions. I joined storytelling competitions. I joined debate competitions because I realized that I love being behind the mic. There's something exciting about talking to a lot of people. If we were in person, if I was talking to you in person, I bet you the energy in the room would be so much higher. But we'll make do with this virtual setup. I can feel you from your comments that you're sending me, so I really appreciate it. Following up to my experiences in high school, it led to eventually my graduation speech. When I was crafting the graduation speech, I was feeling a lot of mixed emotions. On one hand, I was very excited to share my story, but on another, it was a very heavy and emotional story that I was sharing. I needed to find a balance between both. In crafting the speech, there was a lot of things that I took into account that I would like to share with you all today. So that is roughly my public speaking journey. So when we talk about public speaking, I wonder if you guys ever think of it like a game of Simon Says. So let me know, have you guys ever played Simon Says? Respond in the comments, yes or no. The game of Simon Says is the game where one person, known as Simon, will say or give an instruction. For example, Simon says, close your eyes. Or Simon says, look down. Simon says, clap your hands. So there are a lot of a lot of things that Simon can command you to do. When you think about public speaking, imagine it like you're playing a game of Simon Says. But you can't directly say to the audience, Simon says, pay attention to me. Simon says, listen to me. Or Simon says, clap your hands for me. It's something that you have to do indirectly and subtly. So it's a really cool approach thinking about public speaking this way. You're playing a game in which you are the only one who knows. The audience are not in on it, but you, as Simon, are trying to get their participation, are trying to get their attention, are trying to get their enthusiasm and their engagement. So, like any game, the only way to win at it is to be good at it. So, I know public speaking is not all about winning or losing, but if you think of it this way, I'll give you a few strategies on how you can best play the game. When it comes to public speaking, I believe that the power lies in you. When you assume the role of the public speaker, you have a lot of control. Number one, you have the power to set the tone of your speech. For example, if your speech is a formal speech, you have the power to give a very formal vibe to it. You know, all the technical formalities, all the people that you have to address with respect. That is the gist of a formal speech. If it's a casual speech or casual engagement, you have the power to give it a light, breezy vibe. You have the power to slip in a joke here and there to lighten the mood. If it's somewhere in between, which is the approach that I'm taking with this virtual talk, you have the power to be both formal and keep it conversational so that it's light. People can listen to you for a long time. So that is number one. As a speaker, you have to realize that the power lies in you to set the tone of your speech. Number two, you have the chance to give value to your audience. When you think about giving a speech, don't think about it as one person against a crowd of thousands or against a crowd of hundreds. Think of it as one person for a crowd of hundreds or a crowd of thousands. One person for the crowd, meaning you, as the speaker, are giving value to the crowd. You're working for the crowd. You are serving the crowd. Most people, if you have a mentality that the crowd owes you validation or that the crowd owes you like respect or attention, they don't manage to get it because they think they're entitled to it. But that's not the case. You have to earn it. You have to work for it. So it is in your power to give value to your audience. That is what I'm trying to say. So number 3, when I say the power lies in you, I would like you to believe that you have the choice to give your audience an experience worth remembering, either between a story that they can think about years to come, or wisdom that you impart on them that they subconsciously use in their everyday life. It's something that every time they practice, they can remember your speech or remember your sharing session. So all of this is something that as a speaker, you have to embed within you. You have to understand that you have this influence, you have this platform, and you have this capability. That is the start and foundation of every speech. So how, may I ask, do you use this power, or do you hone this power? So some of you might be familiar with this. This is Aristotle's Art of Rhetoric. It is the very basic modes of persuasion that you can input in a speech, in a rhetoric, in an essay, anytime you're trying to persuade someone. I like to start with logos, which is logic. Logic in your speech gives logic, clearly. Also reason. It gives the sound reason for your audience to believe you. For example, if I take my role as a scientist, as a geologist, I will use my scientific reasoning, my scientific knowledge and logic to convince my audience of my hypothesis. That is an example. And number 2, we move on to pathos. Pathos is emotion. Emotion, I believe, is an important connector between you and your audience. I believe that while all of this is important, logos, pathos, and ethos, my personal favorite is emotion. Because emotion, I believe, is the basis of what connects you and another human being. So it is important that you incorporate that in your speech as well. And last but not least, ethos, credibility. Credibility depends on who you are. Like if, for example, you are an architect, you wouldn't necessarily be speaking about how to do heart surgery. If you are a doctor, you wouldn't necessarily be speaking about how to build twin towers, for example. So it really depends on who you are as a speaker to talk about the relevant topic that you're presenting. My ethos for today, my credibility for today is that you guys invited me based on my graduation speech, my public speaking experience. So that is the basis of what I'm sharing with you all today. So a lot of beginners struggle when they are starting out with public speaking. They usually ask me, how do I memorize my speech? What is the correct body language? How do I overcome stage fright? How do I become confident in public? So in the course of my sharing session today, I will hope to answer some of these questions. But the main answer to all of these questions is that you will get better with time and practice. I didn't get to where I am today overnight. I spent a lot of time and months practicing and years practicing, not just months. In fact, if you think of my graduation speech, if you look at the video on YouTube, the duration of that speech is only 5 minutes long. But the preparation that went into crafting that speech, that went into practicing that speech, that went into training and rehearsing for that speech took about 2 months. So I will tell you that nothing great comes easy. So it definitely requires time and practice, especially for beginners. And another thing that beginners usually fear speaking in public, these are the reasons that beginners usually fear, is fear of saying the wrong things, or fear of forgetting your important points, fear of feeling nervous or anxious. I'm here to tell you that this is completely normal. I do realize that I think earlier today in one of your programs, you had a sharing session by another speaker on how to overcome nervousness and anxiousness. So I hope you took notes on that. But I do want to remind you that, yes, public speaking, feeling nervous and having stage fright, that's completely normal. It's something that if you are an experienced public speaker, either you get used to it or you know how to hide it. When I was doing my graduation speech, you probably couldn't see it, or maybe some of you could pick it up. My voice was kind of jittery. I was very nervous. My throat was super, super dry. Behind the podium, my feet were shaking because I was very, very nervous. And I just had to, get over it. I had to start getting into the vibe of my speech. And once I did, it just started to flow. And that is the importance of practicing. So, again, I'd like to remind you that feeling nervous or feeling anxious during your speech is completely normal. A lot of speakers experience it, and especially it means that the task is important to you. If you didn't care about it, you wouldn't feel nervous or you wouldn't feel anxious about it because it didn't matter. So, again, like I said, practice makes time and practice makes things better. So preparation is definitely the best way to minimize fear. See how I said minimize and not eradicate fear, because I feel like fear is always going to be somewhat there. You just have to learn to work with it. So these were the basics of public speaking that you usually get from sharing sessions. But the next part of my sharing session is kind of a personal approach. Is what I do when I start to prepare for a speech. It is kind of my workflow, my thinking process, and it's a personal approach. So I'm glad to be able to share it with you guys today so you can kind of take notes and, practice it for your own speech. It doesn't exactly have to be the same, but I hope it can benefit you in one way or another. So let's get to it. Becoming a good public speaker. My personal tips for speeches, public speaking, even conversations and presentations, you need 3 things. The first one being understanding, meaning you need to understand yourself, your material, and your audience. Number 2, I have emphasized this a lot, is preparation. Preparation as in practicing, rehearsing. It is doing things that your future self will thank you for. And number 3, it is an underrated preparation technique. And an underrated fact in preparing to be a good public speaker, you have to have compassion. And compassion meaning you have to be kind to yourself and you have to be kind to others as well. You'll see why this comes into play when I get to it. So, first and foremost, understanding. Number 1, when it comes to understanding, I need you to understand that as a public speaker, as a storyteller, your voice matters. You need to understand what is the story that you are trying to tell. A lot of people, they have this kind of fear, they have this anxiousness. What if my story is boring? Or what if my speech is not captivating enough? What if I have nothing worth sharing? But I'm here to tell you that that is completely false. Every single person has a story worth telling. You have an experience that you went through that other people did not understand. And it's something that you can share to other people. You have wisdom that you can impart to other people, even to your friends, to your colleagues, to your peers. It doesn't even have to be in a big stage in front of thousands of people. It is in everyday life, you learn something, you have something that is worth sharing to another person. So this is an important thing to understand, that your voice matters, because when you are crafting your speech or your story, it is important for you to believe in yourself. When I was preparing my graduation speech, I was quite concerned about the heaviness of the topic that I was talking about. I talked about burnout. I talked about losing motivation. I talked about not wanting to graduate or finish my studies because of all the struggles I went through. When I was talking to my counselor during this time when I was preparing for my speech, and she was like, she needed me to know something important that I remember until today. She told me, your speech is important because you represent a voice that is often unheard. And that was something that I really needed to hear. So when you are preparing your speech, you also need to understand that your voice deserves to be heard. Your story is worth telling. So that is point number 1 under my tip, understanding. Moving on to number 2, understanding your material. As a public speaker, you have to know your stuff. If you're telling a story or if you're telling something that is conversational, casual, you have to know what is your storyline, what is your beginning, what is your middle, what is your end, what is the flow to your speech. However, I'd like to point out that for scientific or factual presentations, which is also usually the case for university students when you have to present in your science classes or you have to present in history classes, where you are presenting highly accurate facts or scientific knowledge, you need to understand your basics. You need to know your stuff. This is where it's important to have practice and credibility, because as a public speaker, you cannot just goreng facts and scientific presentations, okay? So you need to have high scientific or factual integrity for that. Lain cerita, different case. When you're giving a story or when you are sharing your experience, it's completely up to you on how you want your storyline to flow, because you are the author of your story. So it's important to know the difference here and there and know when to apply it. Bottom line is, either way, know your stuff. So the third point under understanding is understanding your audience. As a public speaker, it is important for you to understand who you are speaking to and how can you cater your story to them. So this example, usually, have you ever come across that? Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. It's where people break down difficult topics to explain it in layman terms. For example, if you take a very difficult topic like international taxes, how do you break that down to explain it to a toddler? You might use an example like, you have 5 cookies and you have to give mommy and daddy 1 cookie because you need to share, or something like that. It depends on who your audience is, because it changes how you craft your speech and how you cater your speech for them. So depending on the level of expertise or the level of experience that your audience have, you would, share your material a bit differently. If they are beginner levels, you would break down your sharing points in more detail. If your audience is more experienced, you can go ahead and skip all the basics and go ahead to the more, hard stuff, get straight to the point to it. So I guess in general fact, it's safe to say that explaining your sharing session or your material as if you're talking to a beginner is usually the safe bet. Usually the only time when you need to prepare for experts is when sometimes when you're preparing for your viva, you're defending your thesis. Usually then you have to step it up a notch and take it up to the expertise level. So that is completely up to you to understand who you're speaking to and how you can cater your story to them. Okay, so that was tip number 1 on understanding. Summarizing it, number 1, I told you that your voice matters. It is important that you understand that you have a story that is worth telling. You have something that is worth sharing to everybody out there. Number 2, it is important for you to understand your material. It's important for you to know your stuff, whether it be your storyline or as a scientist or as a factual presenter, to know your basics. And number 3, it is important for you to understand your audience, as you need to understand who you are speaking to so that you can better communicate with them. So that wraps up part number 1, understanding, on my personal approach and workflow to public speaking. So moving on to part number 2, preparation, doing things that yourself will be grateful for. So my favorite part when it comes to preparing for a speech, the first thing I always do is I love to observe. You can go on YouTube, look at other speakers, and observe how do they do it? How do other public speakers do it? What do effective presentation speeches look like? How do people, what is their style when they're giving public speaking? Usually, it's really open body language. You have your arms out, your hands out. You wouldn't find a good public speaker like with their hands crossed against their chest, because it's showing very close body language that you don't want to share. In person, you would have a very firm stance. Your feet would be either planted to the ground, or you have a very steady flow of walking from one part of the stage to another. What you don't want to do is fidget or shift your weight constantly when you're on stage. Virtually, it doesn't really apply, I guess, because I'm just sitting in my chair, so I can't really go anywhere on the stage. And then last but not least, good posture. So all of these I learned from observing other speakers. I learned from what makes a style kind of attractive for people want to look at it or want to listen to their speech. When I was preparing for my graduation speech, I looked through a lot of other graduation speeches to see how they incorporated their story into this very, very formal, very, very inspiring way. So that is my first step, always to observe how it's done, how other people have done it. Once I do this, I can then take whatever that I've learned and apply my own style to it. So I add in my own way of speaking or my own way of intonating words. So part 2, most obviously, practice. I would like you, as a public speaker, anytime you are preparing for your speech, you need to practice. And I feel like this is pretty obvious, but I need to really drill it in that you really need to practice until you and your material become one. People have different memorization techniques. Some people, they like to memorize word for word, as in they type in their speech, and they have maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs and they memorize every word on that speech. Other people, they prefer to memorize points or flow in their story. For example, they do the body of their speech and they have their introduction points, their main points, their sub-points, and their conclusion points. I feel like there's no right or wrong way to do it. It just depends on what is the style that you most prefer. Me personally, I like to have a rough outline of my speech, but I leave a little room for myself to be flexible, to add anecdotes here and there if I come up with it on the spot. So I generally take about a very structured preparation technique. But when it comes to presenting the speech, I like to be a bit more impromptu. I'm rooted in my points, but I leave space here and there for, any changes, definitely. So also under practice, after you have memorized or after you've gotten the hang of the flow of your speech, you need to get used to seeing yourself speaking. You can do this either by practicing in the mirror, or you can record yourself on video. I know it seems weird. Some people are not comfortable seeing themselves on video, but you will do yourself a huge favor by doing this, because you get to see how you kind of perform or how you present. What does your posture look like? How do you sound? Is your pace fast or is your pace slow? And these are the things that if you're just talking to yourself and you don't look at the recording again, you don't really pick up on these subtle things. So it really helps you improve on your presentation skills if you record yourself. And the best part is that if you are consistent at recording yourself, for example, you record a video of yourself during the first time that you practice a speech, and then you see the final recording of the actual speech on the big day or whatever, and you can see the vast difference or a huge improvement. So it's kind of a growth journey that you can chart for yourself by doing this. So I highly recommend it. And number 3, under the point of preparation, is to get better. And what I mean by this is that once you have started getting the hang and you have started practicing your speech, you need to share it with your friends and family if you're comfortable with it, because this is the way that you get better, when they give you feedback. I know it's not easy to get feedback from other people. I personally take criticism quite personally, so I have to remind myself to be professional. It is not criticism about you, it is criticism about constructive criticism about what you can do better. So once you get feedback from other people, it is here that you can start editing your presentation, your script or delivery. If you have trouble asking for feedback from other people, You can start by asking questions like, was my piece okay? Did I explain my point clearly? Or was there a better way that I could have said that sentence, for example? And you can do this with like friends that you trust, with your parents or your teachers, your peers. And I'm glad that you have Asas Pengucapan Awam, this community that you can reach out to other public speakers to kind of give feedback to your speech. Drawing back to my example of my graduation speech, during this period of preparation, the first draft of my speech was 10 minutes long. It was much, much longer than the final version of my speech. Once I presented it to, I was working with a speech coach during that time because the university graciously hooked me up with a speech coach to help me prepare. And it was a really good time working because I learned so much during that time. I learned ways to say the same thing, but in a more concise manner. I learned how to shorten my speech from a 10-minute speech to 5 minutes and learn to compress what's important or what can be left out during a speech. So these are the things that you only get by sharing your work when you are working on it to get feedback from other people. Yes, Shafika, wow, there's a speech coach. There was a speech coach. So I'm really thankful to learn from other people. You have to realize that a lot of good speakers are not good just by themselves. They have been taught and trained by a lot more experienced people. In the same way that I was taught by them, I would like to impart any wisdom that I have to you so that you may use these tips as well in your public speaking journey. So wrapping up part 2 of preparation, I mentioned first, I like to observe how other speakers do it. This is the best way to start. You can just passively look at other people and kind of take notes here and there and see what works and what doesn't for you. Number 2, most obvious and most important practice, rehearse, rehearse, rehearse until you and your material become one. You don't necessarily have to memorize it word by word, but it's definitely important for you to get the hang of the flow of your speech, the body of your speech. Like, where is the story going? Where am I taking it? And lastly, get better by getting feedback from others and by continuously editing your work, continuously editing your presentation, your script, or your delivery, because there's always room for improvement. So that wraps up part 2 preparation. I need a moment for a drink because I have been talking for a while and my throat's getting kind of dry. So give me a moment. Always have water on hand. That's another tip I'll just add in here. Okay, now on to my last bit. If you remember earlier, I mentioned the 3 kind of workflows or approach I take personally to public speaking. The first one was understanding. The second one was preparation. And the last one was compassion. Now, I'm gonna explain why I think this is highly important and kind of underrated when it comes to public speaking preparation. When it comes to public speaking, it is really important for you to be kind to yourself. It's okay if you don't achieve everything that you plan to do. The most important thing is that you do your best and thank yourself for that. Sometimes you may have been practicing for your speech for weeks, for days. When the day comes, something happens and you fumble or you forget a line or two. That's completely okay. You need to be kind to yourself. And I say this because when you are giving a public speech, when you are preparing for it, you are asking a lot from yourself. You're asking not just your physical self to kind of get your voice out there or to stand or to, publicly appear. You're also asking your mental self to be prepared and present. You're asking for your emotional self to bare your soul and share the story with everybody. So you're asking a lot from yourself. At the end of the day, we are only human. And I believe that as much as we strive for perfectionism, it's always okay to just take it easy. This is like something that is important as a student, as a human being for us to balance. We can do everything in our power to prepare, But if something happens on that day that doesn't go out as you planned, it's completely okay, and you need to be kind to yourself. Number 2, on a similar note, be forgiving to yourself. To be honest, nobody will know if you mess up unless you make it obvious. There are always times where I may have forgotten a point, or I forget to tell a story I planned to. Nobody really knows unless I make it really obvious, like, oh my god, like, I forgot to say something. That's kind of the things that will give you away. So as long as you're forgiving to yourself and you just like kind of like have mental like feedback to yourself, like in your head you're saying, I forgot that line, but it's okay, I'll just move on. So ladies and gentlemen, my next point is blah 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 blah. It's completely okay. So even if you blank out on stage, some people have like, I've experienced this when I'm giving a debate, or for example, I prepared this long argument and then suddenly I'm just like zoning out. I'm like, what was I supposed to say? It's okay to pause and simply restart. Again, I like to remind you that you're only human. It's okay to make mistakes. So whenever you blank out, just take a deep breath, take a few moments, pick it up again. Some people even choose to, restart the sentence from the previous sentence that they paused on, or you can just go on to the next part. Either way, like, everybody in the audience is human. You're human. Everybody understands that it's completely okay. Nobody's going to be like, nobody's going to like be really hard on you for that. And lastly, my point of compassion, it is really important to be kind to others. This meaning to respect other people and to not be judgmental. And I put this reminder in because, as I mentioned earlier, when you understand that everybody has a story worth telling, everybody deserves to be listened to. So when other people are giving their speech, when other people are presenting their hard work to you, give them the time and attention that they deserve. For example, if you're in a class and you're doing your final semester presentation, I know that a lot of students, they are so worried about their own presentation that while other people are speaking, they're editing their own presentation, or they're practicing, or they're discussing with their team members about their own presentation. I feel like as a courtesy to other speakers and other students who have also prepared hard for their presentations, you owe them the compassion, the respect to listen and to give them attention. So it is kind of a wholesome way if you think about it, because we do realize that we live in a community. You can't be a public speaker without the public. Nobody will listen to you if there is no people. The same way that you expect to be listened to, owe other people the same attention that you would like when you are speaking. So I feel like these points that fall under compassion are very important as a public speaker, because it kind of levels you up. You're not just somebody who memorizes a story or a word. It makes you a human being. It makes you a wholesome person that the audience can connect to. You're not just Siri reading out a text like, hey Siri, read this out for me. Good morning. The weather today is 59 degrees or whatever. Oh my god, my Siri just turned on. Siri false alarm, sorry. So yeah, as you see, I take a very wholesome approach, a very human approach when it comes to public speaking. At the end of the day, you are communicating with another human being. Even though I'm talking to a screen, I can see active participation. I can see response from people who are viewing this live, either on YouTube or on Facebook. So this is a summary of what I mentioned in the topic of compassion. Is number 1, being kind to yourself. Number 2, be forgiving to yourself. And number 3, being kind to others. In summary, everything that I said, every workflow or my thought process is in this page. Feel free to screenshot this if you didn't take any notes. I would love for you to refer to this anytime that you need to prepare for a speech. As I'll just remind you, the first bit we talked about understanding. We talked about how your voice matters and that you have a story worth telling. We talked about understanding your material, knowing your stuff as a public speaker, because it's important for you to have your facts right, to have your scientific info correct. Yes, Faris, I'll keep this up for a few minutes, so don't worry, just screenshot. And number 3, it is important for you to understand your audience. Who are you speaking to, and how can you cater your story to them? In part 2, we talked about preparation. And preparation for me is doing things that my future self will thank me for. It starts with number 1, observing. How do other speakers do it? Or how do effective presentations look like? And number 2, practice, which is obvious and very important because you need to practice until you and your material become one. Imagine it like practicing or memorizing your favorite song. And lastly, get better. Can you get better by getting feedback from other people or by continuously editing your presentation? And last but most importantly, compassion. Compassion as a public speaker makes you human. It allows you to be kind to yourself and be forgiving to yourself whenever you make mistakes, because as long as you know that you did your best, you can sleep well that night. And lastly, it is important for you to have compassion so that you be kind to others and respect those in the public speaking community and never be judgmental. So, I'm going to give this a few moments for you to screenshot for anybody who hasn't yet. Okay, got thumbs up from Fatin Farhana. Okay. So, I just want to check in with the team backstage on like how much time do I have, because I know we started a bit earlier today. If anybody can just give me confirmation in the chat box, I'd really appreciate that. Okay, so I'm assuming we do have a bit more time. So as I promised earlier, I did mention that I recently just published my poetry book entitled Quiet Companions. Oh, we got a lot of time, 20 minutes. I think we started earlier, so I'm pretty sure it's close. Okay, so since we do have a lot of time, I'm very excited to share with you this poem that I wrote called Becoming 19. For some context, I wrote this poem for my 19th birthday. When I was 19, I was going through a lot of self-confidence issues. I wasn't sure of myself a lot. I was making a lot of, I thought were bad decisions or were mistakes. But now when I look back at it, it seems like it was just the way things were meant to be. And I learned a lot from those experiences. The reason why I would like to share this poem with you called Becoming 19 is because I believe that a lot of us as young adults, or as like teenagers who are turning into adults, the transition is kind of harsh. There's a lot that you need to kind of prepare mentally when you change to becoming more independent. You start relying on your parents so much. When you start finding who you are, you start discovering yourself. It's a journey that everybody takes, and it's a wonderful journey. And Becoming 19 is just my thoughts on maneuvering that journey. So thank you for this opportunity. And I'd like to kind of wrap up my sharing session with this poem called Becoming 19. They say you either sink or swim. Well, I've learned that some waters you just can't swim. But sinking sounds so subtle. I prefer the term drowning in protest. It is kicking and screaming to the last breath. There's something beautiful about the rage of a 19-year-old girl. When she's in between the experiences she's collected and the years she has left to grow. In between her wisdom and her naive heart, in between her acceptance and her frustration, she does not know what to do with her hands. Maybe when I'm older, I will learn to sink without a sound. When I'm grown up enough to know better. But right now, I don't know better. Not when I feel like I haven't fought enough yet to just give in. When my lack of understanding makes me fight only harder for the things I believe in, for the ones I love. It is a fight adults tell me is a sure loss. I got no chance against it. Well, fine. I'll take that loss. but not before I'm done giving it my all, not before the sword in my hand falls due to my own strength waning. When I hear that clatter on the ground, I'll surrender to sinking and to losing the fight. But if that's the case, I won't just learn loss in theory, from the stories they tell me, from the precautionary steps they teach me to take. I'll graduate the course with practical credits. It is knowing I didn't just choose safe over sorry before understanding what it is I'm gonna have to be sorry for. It is knowing that I messed up so badly, but putting the broken pieces together and making something new. It is surviving with scars on my heart and living with the stitch marks to prove that I made it. Accepting with cuts and blisters on my hands from holding on too tightly to the things that I later learned to just let go. It is fear of becoming like my mother, only to end up becoming like my mother, but realizing that there is nothing wrong with that because she is both beautiful and strong, and I will only learn to walk with my chin up, heart braced against the world, fearless. I'll look back and know that I didn't just disappear like some kind of magic trick, didn't just slip through the trap door when no one was looking. I existed quite significantly, quite the way I wanted to. And they'll remember me brave, even though stupidly brave, but that's okay. Because stupid I can learn to fix, but brave is something I will always want to be really. It won't even matter if no one remembers me, at least I'll remember me. And maybe that's all I'm asking for. There's something beautiful. I believe that there's something beautiful about becoming 19. Thank you. So that was Becoming 19. I believe one of the first poems in my book. And it's something that I hope you guys take away from. I know that most of you are 19 years old or just turned 19 or about to turn 19. And it's a shared experience that we all go through when we're maneuvering this precious and delicate part of our lives, trying to figure out who we are. Take it slow, be kind to yourselves. And with that, I wrap up my sharing session. We can take it to question and answer because I would love to have a conversation with you guys and answer any questions that you might have. So I see Adelina pop back up. Hi, girl.
Okay, hi Miss Lisa. Thank you so much for giving meaningful tips and sharing your experience to us. I'm confident that your speech will benefit the audience, and I feel the audience appreciates your thought-provoking speech. And I actually really enjoy with your ending of speech. It is really touching, and I'm a mess. It was a pleasure sharing for us, which I would say is very useful and beneficial. Thank you so much, Miss Lisa, for your great words. Okay, everyone, it's time for a Q&A session with our great speaker. So if you have any question, feel free to ask and please post them in the comment section below.
Keep them coming.
Okay, Miss Lisa, actually we've got the question. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so the first question, would you allow me to ask, were you always interested in the idea of studying abroad, especially in Australia? So that's it.
Okay. Thank you for the question. So I was always interested in the idea of studying abroad, mainly because both my parents studied abroad. And I thought that was exciting because I wanted to kind of be independent and find my own way in the world. Just to correct you there, I didn't go to Australia, though I went to University of Wisconsin in the United States. So I've actually never been to Australia. I would really like to, hopefully after this pandemic ends, whenever that will be. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Miss Lisa. So for our second question, how can I learn to keep my nerve when I'm in front of the public?
Okay. So there are a lot of ways for you to kind of work with your nerves. Let me just kind of craft my answer. Personally, for me, sometimes I get very fidgety when I'm in person, sometimes I like to hold something. There's this movie, if you know, I think it's called Made in Manhattan. And it was about this, there was this like politician, I believe. He had to give a speech, and whenever he gets nervous, he holds a paper clip in his hands just to have something to hold on to. Some people do that and they find it kind of grounding or comforting. Another way that you can work with your nerves is to kind of pace yourself. One of the best tips that I've received when it comes to both just public speaking or performing on stage is to take a few moments to pause before you begin. Um, you can take up to, like, I don't know, 5, 6 seconds just before you start your first word. Okay, I'm ready to begin. It kind of resets your vibe, your mood, and kind of starts checks you out of the nerves and leaves it behind. Sometimes it will creep up back to you during the speech, and that's completely okay. You just need to hang in there. I know that it'll be over in at most 5 to 6 minutes. So that is my answer to that question, Alina.
Okay, I see. Thank you. That's a good tip for me too. Okay, so our next question. Have you always been such a good presenter? And don't you have any personal experience dealing with nervousness?
Okay. The answer to that is no. I have not always been a good presenter. I've received help and coaching from a lot of teachers, from public speaking training, from debate coaches, from storytelling coaches. I've received training for, spoken word poetry, because it's also a form of like speaking in public. You're performing spoken word poetry. So the simple answer is no, I haven't always been a good presenter. And to share with you, like, when getting to where I am now has taken like a long time, and it's been a long journey as well. Um, and I'm only confident when it comes to public speaking in English. If I have to do this in full Malay, in full bahasa, I boleh cakap bahasa Melayu, tapi nanti dia akan jadi rojak, dia jadi tak formal, macam nak Manglish kan everything kan. So if you ask me to pidato di Raja, that one I nervous gila, So I'm not always at my best when it comes to public speaking. It just takes a lot of mental preparation, a lot of practice beforehand. And do I have any personal experience dealing with nervousness? The second part of the questions, definitely yes. Usually before I prepare for a speech, I have to give myself time to nap, because if I don't nap, I don't feel okay. So everybody has different ways in dealing with their nervousness. For me, I try to sleep it away. So just before this speech, I took a nap for about 45 minutes to make sure that when I wake up, I'm kind of rested and like ready to give this speech, So that's kind of one of personal ways of dealing with it. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Miss Lisa. Next question. Do you have any tips on how to attract interest when we are speaking in front of an audience?
Yes, I do. So a lot of the tips that I shared in the sharing session earlier in my presentation are hopefully tips and tricks that will help kind of get the attention of your audience or to attract interest. Another thing that I can add on during this Q&A session is that it's always interesting when a speaker adds in either an anecdote or a personal story. People want to relate to the speaker. They want to connect to the speaker. So, for example, I can give you an example. If you are tasked with the assignment to give a speech about the fast food industry, the history of fast food, or something like that, it can be a very factual speech. You can talk about big corporations or like common fast food health risk or whatever you want that is based on research, based on whatever you Google. But you can also start off that speech or that story with a personal anecdote. You can start it off with, like, I remember the first time I had my favorite burger. It was with my family at this restaurant, and I was whatever years old you were. Or you can start like, my favorite fries is from this restaurant or so and so. So it helps you connect with your audience as a human. It's always more interesting when you mix in personal stories or examples in real life. So that is a tip that I can give you on how to attract interest when you're speaking in front of an audience.
Okay, I would like to add more question about attract people, which is how to attract people attention during our speech. Yeah, people might sometimes get bored when we are speaking, right? So how can we attract them?
Okay. First of all, it's something that as a speaker, I try not to stress myself out with so much because uh, as a human being myself, sometimes we have quite limited attention span, and like there are times that we need, kind of to check out before we check in again and listen to the speech. So first of all, if you see someone who's like kind of not paying attention or they are kind of losing focus, it's okay. Like, don't take it personally. Maybe they're going through something. That's the first thing I need to remind you. But the second bit, how to strategically keep your audience's attention or interest, enthusiasm, is using your tone, your pitch. You have a lot of power in your voice when you are talking, your intonation when you kind of take it up a notch because I'm telling an exciting story. And then if somebody's falling asleep and they hear your voice going up like that, they'll be like, oh, what is she saying? Or like when you are trying to like conclude from a long, boring kind of like fact vomit, like you say like fact one, fact two, fact three, and then people are going tired, and then you can kind of acknowledge that it's like, I see I'm boring you guys, so let's turn it around a bit. So play with your voice, play with the intonation and the inflection of how you talk to another person. It's easy to become very monotone in your speech because if you like just reading a line by line, it's easy to just be monotone. But remember that it's always important to remember you're talking to an actual human. They want to have a conversation with you. At the end of the day, like even though this is a formal event, I need to acknowledge that as students, we have very limited attention span. I have very limited attention span. So I need to keep things interesting to you by keeping my segments short, as in like when I did my points, it's like point one, two, three, and then moving on another point one, two, three. So it kind of segments my presentation. I have understanding, I have preparation, I have compassion. So we move on quite quickly. Even though I talked for a long time and I shared a lot, it was segmented in bits so that we could kind of reset and refresh your attention. So that is practical or strategic tips when you're giving your presentation. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that's answered the question. And we have question from Fikri Hakim. Miss Lisa, did you ever feel pressured to give a speech because of people expectation on you? If yes, how you handle that kind of situation?
Um, well, yes, I do have times when I feel pressured because, like, for example, this program, your committee in your organization invited me because they know they've seen my video. So they need to expect the same level of credibility, the same level of professionalism that was displayed in that video, because that is what is the basis of the invitation. So, yes, I do feel a certain pressure to reach the expectation, mostly because it keeps myself accountable. If I don't have that pressure, I could just come in here without any preparation, without any slides. I won't even bother to get dressed. I could just, be in my PJs and do a really bad job. So I feel like to a certain level, um, pressure or expectation is required so that you keep yourself accountable to your responsibility, to the things that you need to do, to the level that is expected of you. However, if it's too much pressure or if it's unreasonable expectation, I feel as a human being, it's important for you to take a step back and kind of evaluate what's reasonable and what's, what makes sense. Because if for example your team had expectations of me to give a speech for 6 hours, that's unreasonable. Nobody's going to listen for 6 hours. Nobody has, and I wouldn't have the energy to keep speaking for 6 hours. So you have to work within reasonable expectations. So it's a two-way thing. Personally, you manage your expectations and you communicate with the other person. So that's somewhat how I handle the situation when it comes to the topic of feeling pressured or expectations.
So, Miss Lisa, there is someone who asked how to avoid stutter in speech.
Okay. So I'm not an expert when it comes to stuttering, because stuttering is a medical condition. Some people, if they suffer with stuttering in their daily life, it's something that you can seek medical help from a doctor. It requires, in more serious conditions, it requires speech therapy, which will help you overcome stuttering. But if you're talking about stuttering in a mild sense, in a normal speech, when like I just did just now, when you like start a sentence and you repeat the first few words of a sentence, my best advice, if that's the kind of stuttering that you're referring to, is to think slowly. Sometimes the reason you stutter is because you have a lot of things that you want to say, and your mouth can't keep up with the thoughts that are going through your head, because you're going through point A, point B, point C, point 3, but you're only starting to speak at point 1. So if you're suffering with stuttering mildly, not as a medical condition in your daily basis, if you're referring to stuttering in public speaking or in impromptu speeches, the tip is to think slowly. And as I'm telling you, I'm telling myself as well, because I'm starting to think really fast on my feet here to answer your questions. So the best way is to slow down. Okay, I hope that answers the question.
Okay, I hope so. So we've got a question from Annie Sophia. How do you accept your own past? Because sometimes my past is haunting me. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
First of all, that is a deep question. Second of all, I love it when I give a public speaking speech, but because my material is very rooted in being human, I get questions talking about, deep questions like this, because these are conversations that we should have as humans. And I thank Sophia for asking, but the answer is I'm still struggling to accept my own past. And it's completely normal. A lot of people are haunted by their own past. They're ghosts who, whatever that you are dealing with, whatever that you are either trying to forget or trying to move on from. And the best way is to listen to your body, listen to what your mind is telling you, listen to what your body needs. If it hurts you thinking about something, then you need to reach out and get help and find ways to heal. A lot of people cope in different ways, like they do art or they do sport. And there's no simple answer to accepting your own past, except that you need to find ways that works for you when it comes to healing. I say this importantly because I personally had quite a rough childhood. My parents got divorced, and I kind of moved houses quite a bit. A lot of this is the basis why I write poetry, is because I express myself and I express my sadness through poetry. And that's how I learned to work through my past. I learned to not necessarily accept it, but make peace with it. There are a lot of things that I'm still struggling or fighting against when it comes to my past. And it's okay. Like, it's normal. It's a continuous struggle. As long as you are kind to yourself and you keep listening to yourself, you'll make it through. So yeah, that took quite a turn there.
So, the next question from Zulfa: how do you deal with failure, especially in studies or public speaking?
So failure, first of all, it's never easy to deal with failure, but Usually, when I deal with failure, it helps when I anticipate it. Not in a good way. I'm not encouraging you to anticipate failure, but I mean to say that, for example, if I know I didn't study enough for my exam, for example, in my physics exam, because I have failed physics exams so many times. I'm so bad at physics. But if I know I didn't study enough or I know I didn't understand the concept enough, I know to manage my expectations that I'm not gonna get an A plus. I'm probably gonna get a B or a C. So my first advice to dealing with failure is to manage your expectations. It's usually harder to deal with failure if you have different expectations for yourself. For example, if you expect a 4.0 and you don't realize that you might fail your physics exam, that's going to be a harder kick in the gut. But if you kind of, you know yourself, you know your preparation, you know how you did on the exam. So if you can anticipate that, means you can manage your expectations and you can prepare yourself for it a bit more. That's in terms of studies. In terms of public speaking, excuse me. In terms of public speaking, I don't like thinking of public speaking as like you can be successful or you can fail at public speaking, because at the end of the day, it's a journey. You have to remember that, like, as formal as public speeches are, it's a conversation. You're talking to another human being. You're talking to a lot of human beings at once, and like, if you really think about it, how can you fail at a conversation? You're just talking. You're just, communicating what you feel or communicating, sharing what you want to say. And there's not really a way to categorize that as failure. The only way that you can fail at public speaking is not doing it. So any effort or any attempt that you do in public speaking is a noteworthy progress towards a journey of becoming better and better each time. So that is my answer to both your questions in studies or public speaking.
Thank you, Miss Lisa. Now, about Keys. Her question, what inspired you to write poetry? Oh, okay.
What inspired me to write poetry was definitely just life experiences. There's a lot of things that's always going through my head and a lot of things that I'm feeling. And it helps me when I write poetry because it helps me kind of process what I'm going through. Um, you know, I I know it sounds cheesy or it sounds kind of cliche, but I used to write a lot when I went through breakups in my previous relationships. Taylor Swift writes a lot for like breakup songs when she's going through breakup. And I love that about her. It teaches us to be, honest about our feelings. It helps us process whatever we went through. And I will say that if I didn't write or if I didn't do poetry, I'd probably be in a lot more pain than I would have if I did. So that is my inspiration, pain.
So the next question is from Fairuz. What common mistake that presenters often make?
Common mistake, lack of preparation. If you listen to my speech well, I will always emphasize preparation, whether it comes to practicing physically or it comes to mentally preparing for your speech. The biggest mistake that you can make is not preparing for your speech, because if you have like 30 minutes to speak but you didn't prepare, if you just go off of what you have in your head, you may only speak for 3 minutes. What are you going to do for the rest of the 27 minutes allocated to you? So it is really important for you to prepare. The biggest mistake that presenter can make is not preparing for your speech. It means not doing research for your speech or not coming up with an outline for your speech. If you need slides, it's not preparing your slides. If it's, anything that requires you to be present and be capable of speaking that you don't prepare for, is a mistake that I will say. So maybe earlier, like I said, the only way for you to fail at public speaking is not to not do it. Is similarly to not prepare for public speaking is the way that you can fail.
Okay, Miss Lisa, we move on to the next question from Tivinus Pathmanaban. Do you remember your first time participating in a public speaking competition and how did you feel?
Yes, I actually did remember. I think I mentioned earlier that one of my first experiences was entering a public speaking competition when I was 12 years old. That was my first ever experience doing public speaking. Both, you have the portion where you prepare a speech, and then there's also the impromptu session where they give you a prompt and you have to come up with a speech in a few minutes. So I remember feeling like I wanted to do my very best, but I also did not do my very best during that time. And I was really hard on myself. I was 12 years old. I should have just, like, what did I expect of myself, Ken? But what I remember from that time during the impromptu speech, of course, when you practice, my teacher gave me a lot of prompts to practice before. So she gave me a lot of example speeches, a lot of prompts, a lot of topics that I could, prepare for my impromptu speech. But when it came to the actual impromptu speech during the public speaking competition, I forgot all the tips that she gave me. I didn't do the outline or I didn't have enough ideas. And I ended up not speaking long enough for the allocated time. I'm not gonna be like now thinking back, like I was just a little girl. I shouldn't have been like so hard on myself. I was only 12 years old. But it was definitely a big learning moment to which is why as a public speaker I highly emphasize preparation, because the 5 minutes that you put into your speech is not just 5 minutes of preparation, it's so much more than that. So that is one of my first experiences. Okay,
So, Miss Lisa, oh, all right.
we can do the question anyway.
So the next question is from Balkis, and it's also from me as well. I love writing and love poetry, but somehow I lost the inspiration to write. How can I get back my inspiration?
Okay. To be quite honest with you, I think we all like I personally have had times where I struggle with like writer's block where I didn't know what to write about. But my tip in starting again is to not worry about it being good. As in, I think that a lot of us, when we write something, we want it to be perfect or we want it to be like, macam, we want it to be presentable or we want it to be perfect, When in reality, if we're writing for ourselves, it doesn't matter if there's spelling mistakes or if there's like grammatical errors. You're writing for yourself. It doesn't have to be good, it just has to be honest. So if you want to start back and get back into writing, just be honest with yourself. What are you feeling right now? What would you like to, write about? What are you going through right now? Just do it. Some people, it helps when they start with a list. This is what Sarah Kay, a really famous spoken word poet, gives advice. If you want to start, some people struggle, you just start a list. Start a list of maybe what are you feeling today? Number one, I feel happy. Number two, I feel sad. Number three, I feel confused. And then elaborate on that. Or, yeah, there's so many ways for you to start. And the most important is for you to be honest with yourself. So that's my answer to your question.
Thank you, Miss Lisa. I hope that's answer Balkis' question. So
And also your question.
Okay, I guess, is there any other question from the floor? Yeah, I think this will be the final question from Nur Shafika Zulfa. Is there any public speaker you always look up to as an inspiration?
Yes, there is. And I mentioned her just now. Her name is Sarah Kay. She is a spoken word poet, but I first discovered her through a TED talk that she gave. And I found her presentation, her sharing really captivating, and it is what got me into spoken word poetry. And I really encourage you guys to look her up on YouTube, Sarah K, SARAHKAY. There are a lot of videos of her doing spoken word poetry and even her TED talk if you want to see her public speaking style. So she's definitely someone that I look up to as an inspiration.
Okay, thank you, Miss Lisa. All right, I believe our time for sharing has come to an end. Thank you, Miss Lisa, for spending your time, knowledge, and energy with us tonight. It was truly wonderful and awesome to speak with you. And thank you for being here with us today and having such a wonderful day with us. Hope to see you someday, inshallah. Thank you again and have a pleasant night. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you again, Tivya, Gina, and everybody behind the scenes and everybody participating in the Facebook and YouTube live. I had a lot of fun tonight, so thank you. Waalaikumsalam.
So that was a great and wonderful session from Miss Lisa. Our next session would be a Kahoot quiz session. For your information, the quiz question will be based on the talk you all heard just now. On your screen, there's a code of Kahoot, and in the chat box, there's a link to the website. All of you can click in the chat box and enter the code on the screen, and please write your name. Your name will appear on the screen, and please wait patiently for about 10 to 15 minutes to others to join also. Others can join the Kahoot quiz session. Please keep your name as the username. Two 793 438. Please change your username. And also C, please keep your name as the username so that we can identify you guys. We will wait another 5 minutes.
Yes, come on, guys. You can invite your friend as well. We've got interesting prize for you all.
Come on, guys. We'll begin our event in 3 minutes. Two more minutes.
Okay, we have interesting prizes for the winners. So come on, guys, let's join us. Yes, you can invite your friend as well.
I think we can start the session right now. Come on, guys. All right. So I'll explain the instruction shortly. You all have 1 minute to read the question and also answer for each question. The question and answers choices will be displayed on your screen, and there are total 10 questions, and I'll help you to read it out. So let's begin. Hadid and Danish went shopping, but Dash couldn't find anything Dash liked. The second question, while Singapore has earned record revenue this year, Dash well behind exports. You can go neither by train, Dash by bus. This is a simple question. Five more seconds. And that's all. The fourth question is, while leaving the shopping plaza, Intan was robbed. Dash purse. Come on, guys. Fatin Farhana is leading. The fifth question is, he is looking for accommodation dash in flat or shared house. 10 more seconds. Okay, now Jeevan is leading. The sixth question is, the students in our school are dash in other schools. All right, next for the next question. Another 3 more. The train station is nearer to them than dash. Come on, guys, you can do it. Few more seconds. And the answer is us. And we'll see who is leading. Jeevan again, along with MCR. The eighth question is, the new information of dengue virus caused panic in the public and government. 12 answers, 13, 14. Come on, come on. 5 more seconds left. And the right answer is alike. Okay, now MCR is leading. Ninth question is, she is standing dash. Her boyfriend is in this crisis. 23 answers.
Okay,
5 more
this is
seconds
so
left.
tricky.
And the right answer is by. MCR is leading. And the last question is, dash of the alarming spread of COVID-19 Delta variant worldwide, the football tournament was still organized. The last question, guys.
We'll see who's gonna be the winner.
2 and 1. Answer is despite, and the winner is. Third place goes to Hakim. Congratulations, Hakim. Second goes to Jeevan, and the first one will be MCR. Congratulations, MCR. Thank you for all the participants who participated this Kahoot session. Congratulations, guys.
For the third winners, you may screenshot your Kahoot games and you need to send the proof to our organizer.
Ariati. No worries, we'll contact you guys. All right. That's all for the Kahoot Challenge 1. We're hoping to the next wonderful, exciting session.
Attention to all the winners. Kindly PM Nabiha, as you can see at the comment section, to claim your prize, and please send a screenshot of your proof as a winner. Thank you and good luck for the next session.
So now let's move on to our next agenda. We are having lucky draw session and hopefully everyone will be lucky tonight. The spinning wheel will appear on your screen. Those who are chosen are required to claim it in the Facebook or YouTube comment section and collect your prizes. Shall we begin? Oh, alright. We're waiting for the spinning wheel to appear in your screen.
Okay, seems like we are about to have our second Kahoot session. So you guys may join us and play again, but with a different set of questions. Okay, you can enter the game pin 4112534. Mina
I'm worried
and
that
the Zahra.
I'm worried that we guys couldn't be able to join. Come on, guys, we need more participants.
Yes, come on everyone, join us. This is your chance to grab our interesting prize.
We are expecting more participants than the Kahoot Challenge 1. And you still have time to fill in the link for the lucky draw session. I'm like excited to know who is that MCR GD. These guys are like winning the sessions with the curious names.
Yes, and we've also got Lee Min Ho from Korea.
Hopefully he wins. We also have Gryffindor.
Okay, everyone, 2 more minutes.
Also have Jin.
Okay, we've got Zara, Adnan, Alia, Aino, Mac, Lee Min Ho, Sabimai, Bara, Zul, Fatin Farhana, Kirti, Fauzan Akmal,
Hanafi
Lu.
sikat tepi. Someone with the
Hanafi.
username.
Hanafi sikat tepi, I wonder. Okay, 31
We are
participants.
about to begin the session. Come on, guys. So the instructions are the same, and please follow the seconds given in the screen. And good luck for you all.
Okay, I think we will about to begin. Shall we start now? All right. So, first question. What is the name of the speaker invited to give a talk on our sharing session? Hoo hoo hoo. Time's up. So Miss Lisa Kamal is our invited speaker. Fatih
Bing
Farhana.
Fatih Farhana.
Okay, next. Which book did the speaker of the sharing session publish? Which one? Is it Quiet Companions or Silent Enemy? Might it be Building Confidence or Drive Towards Success?
Quiet companions, the answer is. And blue. Who's that blue?
Next, the speaker of the sharing session graduated from University of Toronto or Malaya University, Oxford University, or University of Wisconsin-Madison.
I saw the picture of her graduation, so I know the answer.
So the answer is University of Wisconsin-Madison. Who got? And we'll see blue lead the part. Okay. Followed by Zul. Next, the speaker received a scholarship from Chagamas or Shell or JPA scholarship. Maybe Petronas? So, what will you answer?
Petronas.
Petronas. We'll see. Yeah,
That
again, blue
okay.
and Zul.
There is a competition between Zul and
Yes.
blue.
So our fifth question of the sharing session is about how to boost self-esteem. How can my speaking be improved? How to communicate efficiently? Or how to be successful? Which one?
Of course, it's how can my speaking be improved? And 20 of them got a right answer. And blue is
It's
still
blue
leading.
and Zul again. Okay, this is interesting. Next, there are dash winners in the Kahoot challenge. So, is it 5 or 3 or 6? Maybe it's 4.
Simple and easy
See?
question.
Who's got
And
the wrong
also,
answer? Yeah, blue.
again. Congratulations. Good luck. Good luck.
Next, what time did the sharing session begin? 7 p.m., 4 p.m., 9 p.m., or 6 p.m.?
We'll see who's answering the answer.
Yes.
Someone
6
put 10 p.m. Okay.
No, it's blue and Zul again. But I want to see Zul to be the first. Okay, which group organized the sharing session? Asas pengucapan awam C,
Such an
English
easy question.
Society, Mooting Club, Environment Club.
Just look at your screen. The answer might be there.
Yeah. Who's got the wrong answer?
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's Blue and Soul again.
And
Okay.
all right.
We've got 2 more questions. The speaker of the sharing session emphasized about reading. Will it be writing, speaking, or listening? So the answer is speaking.
Oh, there is a quite big
You?
change in the leaderboard.
Yes. Okay, last question. How many programs were held by throughout the day? 2, 1, 4, or 3? Dang, dang, dang.
A color that can relaxing for our mind.
Yes. Yes, the correct answer is 3. So we'll see the winner for our second Kahoot challenge. Third place goes to Irma. Second place, Karti. And the first place is Zo! Congratulations all! Don't forget to screenshot your proof and send the screenshot to our to Arianti. You can check the comment section.
Congratulations, guys. So let's move to the most awaiting session, which is lucky draw. Do you guys
Who's
can
lucky
see
tonight?
your name? I'm curious if I'll be selected too.
Can you?
All right, I'll read again the instruction. So the spinning wheel will appear on your screen. Those who are chosen are required to claim it in the Facebook or YouTube comment section and collect your prizes. Shall we begin? Well, okay. Okay, the first lucky person is Nurul Shafika binti Abu Bakar. Are you here,
Congratulations,
Shafika?
Shafika.
If you are here, please comment through the YouTube or Facebook comment section. Nurul Shafika, if you are here, please comment through the Facebook or YouTube comment section. All right, Nurul Shafika 1, 2, and 3. A lucky person can be an unlucky person too, right? We'll spin the wheel again. And our lucky person is Nur Awatif binti Muhammad Nur. Congratulations. Are you here?
Norawati, if you can respond to our comment session through FB or YouTube. Are you here?
Nur Awatif binti Muhammad Nur, are you here? And Nur Awatif 1, Nur Awatif 2, and Nur Awatif 3. I want to be the third one. But Nur Amira is the lucky one here to win the prize. Congratulations, Nur Amira. Are you here? If you are here, please comment through the comment section. Nur Amira. Are you here? Why nobody wants to claim their prize?
Nur Amira Ayuni binti Kamaruzaman. Calling for Nur Amira.
There are many want to be volunteered to claim the prizes. Between Awatif already got our prize. Nur Amira 1, Nur Amira 2, and Nur Amira 3. Alright, spin the wheel again. We'll see who's the next luckiest person. We got 3 more. The second luckiest person is Suha Darshini, anak perempuan tadi Wilson. Congratulations, girl. Are you here? Suha Darshini. Suha Darshini 1. Suha Darshini 2. And Suha Darshini 3. Iman Maisara. Congratulations, Iman Maisara. Are you here? If you are here, please comment to the comment section. Nur Iman Maisara.
Nur Iman Maisara binti Maidin, 1. Nur Maisara binti Maidin, 2. Nur Iman Maisara binti Maidin, 3. Okay. I guess we need to move on. We've got Siti Sarasafita binti Muhammad Yusuf. Are you there, Siti Sarasafita binti Muhammad Yusuf? Siti Sarasafita binti Muhammad Yusuf, 1.
Seems like some of them are having a bad line and claiming their prizes. Rubindra Analinati Balu. Are you here, Rubindra? If you are here, please comment through the comment section. And Adlina Suhadarshini claimed her prize, but she was having a bad internet connection.
Okay, I think we can approve her as a winner. We thank not that. Okay.
Rubindra, are you here?
Okay, I think we have to...
Another 2 more to claim the prizes. Okay, Najiha Huda binti Muhammad Nasir. Congratulations, Najiha. Please comment if you're there. Oh, okay. Rubindra is also here and Najiha. So Rubindra, congratulations. Najiha, are you there? Najiha 1, Najiha 2, and Najiha 3. We'll see the last lucky one. And Alina. Congratulations, Miss Alina. Claim your prize. Okay, we have Najiha. Alright, we have 4 winners right now, which is Awatif, Rubendra, Suha, and also Najiha. Congratulations. That's all our session. Oh, we have one more. Congratulations, Nurul Uzma binti Muhammad Nasir. Is that the same person or different one?
Different one.
Nurul Uzma, are you here? Oh, we already have Elena who got chosen. Elena. So we have 5 winners. Congratulations to our winners. So that's all our lucky draw session. Thank you and congratulations to the entire lucky draw winners. For those who are not chosen for this round, don't worry. And I think it's time to end our session now because it's getting late. And as saying goes, to every beginning there is an ending, and now the program has come to its end. Once again, thank you for everyone for gracing our program with your presence. We truly appreciate it. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to apologize if we have made any mistakes throughout the event. I end my duty as the MC of today's event. Good night and thank you all.
Do ba 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 do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 ba do yeah. Do ba 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 do boo do a boo ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 ba do yeah.
Three, two, one. Baik, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan selamat sejahtera. Alhamdulillah, saya harap anda semua berada dalam keadaan yang sihat, walafiat dan ceria-ceria selalu. Baik, pada pagi ini saya ingin berkongsi tentang beberapa teknik asas pengucapan awam. Apabila kita sebut tentang teknik asas pengucapan awam, sememangnya akan ada satu masalah, iaitu masalah takut dan juga nervous dalam bercakap, ketika bercakap. Masalah ini sering kali berlaku kepada sesiapa saja yang bercakap, kepada sesiapa saja yang ingin bercakap di khalayak ramai, sama ada di depan audiens ataupun di depan kamera dan sebagainya lah seumpamanya. Jadi bila ada masalah tersebut, adalah jalan penyelesaiannya. Apakah solusinya? Solusinya adalah kita perlu meminimalkan perasaan takut tersebut daripada matlamat kita bercakap. Makna kata kita kena meminimalkan, kita kena kurangkan perasaan takut itu dan lebihkan matlamat kita bercakap. Jadi dekat sini kita nampak bahawasanya apabila kita nak bercakap, kita perlulah ada matlamat. Itulah sebenarnya. Apabila kita nak bercakap, kita perlulah ada matlamat yang besar. Barulah perasaan takut itu akan tenggelam. Kerana apa? Dia antara dua saja. Kalau matlamat kita besar, maka perasaan takut kita akan menjadi kecil. Kalau perasaan takut kita menjadi besar, maka matlamat kita pun akan jadi kecil. Jadi makna kata tak sampailah matlamat itu. Jadi kita perlulah ada matlamat ketika bercakap. Bila kita sebut tentang matlamat umum kita bercakap ni apa sebenarnya? Matlamat umum ini sebenarnya adalah untuk menyampaikan kebaikan, memberikan ilmu kepada masyarakat, memberikan jalan penyelesaian, memberikan pandangan, pendapat kepada masyarakat. Jadi itu adalah satu kebaikan. Takkanlah kerana perasaan takut kita, nervous kita, kita sanggup korbankan peluang untuk berbuat kebaikan, untuk sampaikan ilmu kepada orang. Takkanlah kerana perasaan takut kita saja, kita korbankan peluang kita untuk berbuat kebaikan, sampaikan ilmu kepada orang. Sedangkan kita tahu, apabila kita melakukan satu kebaikan, maka lagi 4 kebaikan akan datang kepada kita. Itu umpamalah, makna kata bila kita tolong orang, insya-Allah satu masa nanti, ke depan nanti akan berlipat kali ganda pertolongan itu datang kepada kita. Nak saya bagi umpama seperti jari kita lah, kan? Satu jari kita tunjuk dekat orang, maka lagi 4 jari ini berbalik kepada kita. Takkanlah kerana perasaan takut kita ni, kita nak korbankan peluang yang sangat besar untuk berbuat kebaikan. Sedangkan dengan kebaikan itu, hidup kita akan menjadi tenang, hidup kita akan menjadi mudah, dan sebagainya. Jadi saya rasa itu sajalah perkongsian saya pada pagi ini. Dan saya berharap kepada yang mendengar supaya moga-moga anda semua mendapat input daripada percakapan saya. Jadi wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Pengucapan awam ialah ucapan didefinisikan sebagai satu bentuk saluran komunikasi bertuturan dan merupakan jenis karangan berformat yang menggunakan teks bertulis sebagai landasan penyampaiannya. Ucapan juga merupakan medium untuk menyampaikan mesej kepada umum melalui pemberi ucapan tersebut sahaja. Ucapan dapat difahami sebagai komunikasi sahala yang melibatkan proses pelahiran idea secara lisan yang diujarkan berdasarkan tema atau agenda majlis dan disampaikan secara individu kepada khalayak untuk mencapai matlamat serta tindakan sesuatu. Selain itu, maksud pengucapan awam ialah pengucapan awam merupakan satu kemahiran yang perlu dikuasai oleh semua individu. Kemahiran berucap juga memerlukan komitmen yang tinggi dan latihan yang konsisten untuk memastikan seseorang itu benar-benar menguasai kemahiran ini dengan baik.
Hai semua, Abang An kembali lagi dan pada hari ini Abang An tergerak hati nak bercakap tentang isu pengucapan awam. Sebab di Instagram, di Facebook, Abang An selalu terima soalan-soalan berkaitan Abang An macam mana nak berucap di khalayak ramai. Saya takut. Baik, untuk pengetahuan adik-adik semua, sejak dulu pun Abang An di zaman sekolah rendah, sekolah menengah, Abang An seorang yang sangat-sangat pasif. Orang lain semua ke depan tapi Abang An masih lagi di tempat yang sama sebab Abang An tak berani untuk ke depan. Nak memperkenalkan diri pun gugup, apatah lagi nak bercerita tentang topik-topik lain. Tapi Abang An pegang dengan satu sahaja prinsip, iaitu selagi kita tak mencuba, selagi itu kita tak akan tahu macam mana hasil dan kesan dia kepada orang lain. So apa yang Abang An buat? Abang An mula dengan Abang An join pengawan. Abang An ditugaskan untuk membaca doa di tapak perhimpunan. Abang An pun baca. Awal baca tu memang orang Kedah kata ketat tak sangka lah. Tapi apabila dah kali kedua, kali ketiga, keempat, kelima membaca doa, bukan setakat Abang An boleh baca doa, tapi Abang An boleh membacakan doa dengan intonasi dan juga gaya yang sangat-sangat menarik. Sampaikan Abang An pernah perasan ada cikgu-cikgu, ada budak-budak yang boleh menangis pada waktu itu. Dan Abang An mula sedar bahawasanya Abang An ada kebolehan tu, tapi mungkin Abang An kena polish lagi. So Abang An nak share tips siapa yang dia nak confident untuk bercakap di khalayak ramai. Pertama sekali, mulakan dengan berbual satu topik yang anda suka, anda tahu kepada rakan-rakan anda. Tak kisahlah dekat sekolah ke, dekat mana-mana yang awak lapang dan berjumpa dengan mereka, awak kongsikan. Sebab di situ akan lahir kita punya confident level. Okey, sebab ada orang yang dia tahu something tapi dia tak nak kongsi, disimpan. Lama-lama skill untuk dia nak berucap ataupun dia nak bercakap tu akan jadi sangat-sangat tak best lah kan. Yang kedua, kalau siapa yang dia nak tingkatkan dia punya confident level untuk dia nak berucap di khalayak ramai, Abang An nasihatkan supaya gunakan medium live di Facebook ke, di Instagram ke, cari apa-apa topik, okey, kemudian post dekat story, malam ni ke, esok ke, saya akan berkongsi tentang isu sekian. Dan esok awak live. Tak apa, bilangan orang yang view ataupun orang yang menonton tu tak kisah. Tapi jadikan 3-4 orang ataupun 5 orang tu kan, ayah dia, mak dia, pak belakang dia, jiran dia, 5 orang tu yang tengok live tu dapat sesuatu. Dan percayalah cakap Abang An, makin lama jika awak dah mula bagus, awak dah ada kemahiran, setakat cakap benda-benda yang macam tu, awak dah mahir. Sebab awak dah mula untuk membina keyakinan dengan latihan yang awak buat dekat live tu. Yang ketiga, sentiasa menginspirasikan orang lain dengan niat untuk nak menambah ilmu mereka. Sebab apa? Pengucapan awam ni bidang yang mana sangat-sangat menyumbang kepada kita pahala. Sebab kita pun tahu kan, apabila meninggal seorang anak Adam itu hanya 3 perkara dia yang dia akan bawa: sedekah jariah, ilmu yang bermanfaat, dan juga doa anak-anak yang soleh. Yang nombor 2 ni, ilmu yang bermanfaat itulah yang mana kita nak kejar dan kita nak bagi pada orang. Mudah-mudahan dengan pengucapan awam kita tu, kita mampu untuk menyumbangkan kebaikan dan pahala untuk diri kita di alam sana nanti. So, siapa yang dia takut nak berucap, tu perkara biasa. Abang An pun takut. Sampai sekarang pun kalau naik pentas untuk acara-acara yang besar, Abang An nervous. Tapi, disebabkan latihan yang kita buat, ilmu yang kita ada, pembacaan kita, pengalaman kita, dia akan mendorong kita untuk berucap dengan lebih baik. So jangan takut, cuba, sebab selagi anda tak mencuba, selagi itulah anda akan mengalami ketakutan itu. All the best to all of you, good luck, dan jangan jadikan public speaking sebagai satu ketakutan yang sangat-sangat besar. Sebab semua orang berhak untuk bercakap dan insya-Allah anda akan jadi pengucap yang baik. Jumpa lagi semua, bye-bye.
Bila kita nak menyampaikan sesuatu, kita perlu struktur, betul? Ini tuan-tuan dan puan, kita reverse balik ke muka surat yang kelima. Alright, muka surat kelima. The Arts of Public Speaking. So, sekali lagi saya ulang, public speaking adalah satu aktiviti menyampaikan maklumat kepada sekumpulan audiens secara verbal. Dia bukan semestinya berdiri di pentas ataupun di rostrum. Dia sekiranya kita nak present sesuatu kepada staff kita ataupun siapa sahaja, dia dikira sebagai public speaking. So tuan-tuan dan puan, ada 3 struktur yang perlu anda tahu. Yang pertama adalah opening. Opening, pembukaan. Nombor 1, opening. Alright. Dan nombor 2 tuan-tuan dan puan, selepas opening anda perlu ada content. Dan yang ketiga tuan-tuan dan puan, perlu ada closing. So, strukturnya simple saja. Sekiranya anda ingin menyampaikan sesuatu ceramah ataupun perkongsian, yang pertama mesti ada opening. Yang kedua baru masuk konten. Yang ketiga adalah closing. Dan opening ni tuan-tuan dan puan dicadangkan sebanyak 15%. Konten 75%. Closing adalah 10%. Dari segi apa? Dari segi masa. Dan tuan-tuan dan puan, satu tips yang anda wajib tahu, sekiranya anda ingin menyampaikan sesuatu, jangan terus masuk konten. Jangan terus masuk kepada apa yang anda nak share. Alright? Make sure ada opening. Dan opening ni tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, ini cadangan saya. Anda boleh membuka persembahan anda ataupun percakapan anda, pertuturan anda ataupun closing anda ataupun anda punya presentation dengan bercerita, storytelling. Macam tadi, ingat lagi pagi tadi saya mulakan dengan bercerita, betul? Cerita apa tuan-tuan? Ustaz Muhammad bin Abdullah dengan Abang Tentera, betul? So that is how kita buat opening. Ataupun teknik kedua untuk opening, kita open dengan soalan. Berapa ramai yang first time datang ke seminar Now Everyone Can Speak? So kita tanya soalan. Yang pertama, opening, ini cadangan saya adalah bercerita ataupun storytelling. Yang kedua adalah dengan tanya soalan. Dan closing tuan-tuan dan puan, saya tak nak sentuh konten sebab saya percaya tuan-tuan dan puan mempunyai konten anda masing-masing. Cuma last kali, ketiga adalah closing. Konten ni sebentar lagi kita akan sentuh sebab saya akan share dengan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan types of audience. Closing ni tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, berapa ramai antara kita yang pernah dengar, best lah Ustaz Muhammad ni berceramah ataupun best lah Ustaz ni sharing, apa dia share? Entah. Betul? Pernah terjadi? Sebab apa tuan-tuan dan puan? Kita kadang-kadang lupa dengan apa dia punya sharing. So, manusia ni mudah lupa, betul? Jadi, cadangan saya untuk closing, kita berikan satu take home. Macam contoh, anda nak buat closing, anda dah sampaikan konten tuan-tuan dan puan, sampaikan ilmu. So, last kali tuan-tuan dan puan, sebelum saya tutup majlis ilmu saya nak share dengan anda 2 tips. So, anda tutup dengan tips. Ataupun anda tutup dengan doa. So, kadang-kadang orang akan teringat yang tips yang last sekali tu. Alright, itu namanya take home.
A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Tuan-tuan dan puan, ramai yang tanya saya bagaimana caranya untuk kita menghadapi situasi di mana kita lost idea. Berapa ramai antara kita yang pernah menghadapi situasi kita sampaikan sesuatu, tiba-tiba kita rasa ataupun kita blank. Kita nak sampaikan sesuatu tentang produk kita, kita nak share tentang kebaikan produk kita, tapi tiba-tiba tuan-tuan dan puan kita dah lost idea. Ataupun tiba-tiba kita rasa gemuruh dan ya Allah, aku nak cakap apa lepas ni? Berapa ramai antara kita yang pernah menghadapi situasi tersebut? Tuan-tuan dan puan, satu perkara yang saya nak share tentang bagaimana caranya untuk kita menghadapi situasi sekiranya kita blank ataupun kita tak ada idea apa yang nak kita sampaikan. Cara yang paling mudah adalah transfer situasi itu kepada audiens anda. Alright? Caranya macam mana? Caranya adalah dengan bertanya soalan. Apa sahaja soalan yang anda nak lontarkan kepada audiens? Mungkin sekiranya tuan-tuan dan puan ingin berkongsi tentang produk, mungkin anda merupakan owner bagi produk kecantikan. So masa anda share tentang kebaikan produk-produk tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, tiba-tiba anda blank ataupun anda rasa nervous sehingga kan anda tak tahu nak cakap apa. So kita boleh ajukan soalan kepada audien kita. Mungkin kita boleh tanya, okey tuan, mungkin sekarang mungkin boleh tuan perkenalkan nama dan daripada mana, dan boleh kongsikan apakah produk yang tuan sedang pakai sekarang. So tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, tips bagaimana ataupun caranya ataupun kaedah bagaimana untuk handle situasi kita blank ataupun kita tak ada idea adalah dengan transfer situasi itu kepada audiens kita. Semoga bermanfaat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
There has been a constant war, a war with fear. Those who have the courage to conquer it are made free, and those who are conquered by it are made to suffer until they have the courage to defeat it.
But you do understand it's not really a choice, right?
This is what my country.
How to invade the topic of Palestine and Israel? Padang jarak, padang terbuka kuat.
Is more intelligent.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera kepada semua. Saya Aisyah Rahim, Ketua ADRESS Multimedia bagi Kelas Asas Pengucapan Awam C UNISA sesi 2021-2022. Mesti anda tertanya, apa yang kami lakukan di belakang takbir? Mari kita lihat.
Selamat malam semua. Semua okey? Baiklah, pada hari ini meeting pada 15 Disember 2021 kita akan terus pada agenda meeting kita. Dia kan? Nampak apa? Okey, nampak. Ini kat sini nanti jadi ni lah. Ini dia kat sini tempat tempat semua kita jadi kita boleh pakai backdrop yang ADRESS Multimedia buat kalau melalui kat sini. Nanti kita tak tepi. Jadi nampak tempat risak kemarin saya buat sebenarnya ini adalah takut lah.
ADRESS Multimedia okey Punch lah. Alhamdulillah semua. Boleh mula? Nampak kan betapa gigihnya ahli kelas asas pengucapan awam C dalam menjayakan program ini. Sekarang, mari kita dengar apa pandangan pengarah kita.
Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera semua. Saya Lisa Kamal Abdul Rahman, pengarah bagi program Kelas Asas Pengucapan Awam C, program Generasi Berani, Generasi Berpotensi. Baiklah, bagaimana kami tercetusnya idea untuk menamakan program kami dengan nama sedemikianlah. Baiklah, ianya bermula daripada matlamat. Lepas perbincangan kami, matlamat kami seberat suara untuk mencipta satu program yang dapat membantu individu-individu tertentu dalam memperbaiki kemahiran berucap mereka. Dan apabila mereka sudah mampu dan berani berucap, sudah semestinya mereka, peluang dan potensi mereka akan lebih menyelah. Jadi itulah yang nama generasi berani itu merujuk kepada generasi yang berani berucap, manakala generasi berpotensi merujuk kepada golongan yang berpotensi tinggi. So apabila digabungkan, ia sebenarnya membawa maksud generasi yang berani berucap adalah generasi yang berpotensi tinggi. Itulah sedikit sebanyak mengapa kami memilih nama tersebutlah. Terima kasih atas persoalan tersebut. Cabaran, sebenarnya banyak cabaran-cabaran yang boleh saya huraikan, tapi tak adalah untuk saya kupaskan cabaran hanya dalam satu video. Tapi saya akan cuba highlightkan satu cabaran yang paling penting, iaitu cabaran kami di mana kami tidak pernah bersemuka. Kami melakukan segala-gala program perancangan, perbincangan sehingga kan ke hari majlis program atas talian. Kami tidak pernah berjumpa. Ini menjadi masalah apabila kadang-kala ada berlakunya ketidakfahaman komunikasi dan masa yang tidak sama. Ini masalah yang merumitkan kami lah. Sekiranya kalau secara berdepan lebih smooth dan lebih terbaik. Tapi alhamdulillah setakat ini kami ahli kelas berjaya mengharungi cabaran ini dengan baik. Dan alhamdulillah saya berpuas hati dengan kerjasama yang diberikan oleh semua AJK lah. Okey, itu sahaja rasanya cabaran. Harapan. Okey, harapan saya mudahlah. Saya sebagai pengarah program ini, harapan sudah tentu saya nak lihat program ini berjaya. Dengan jayanya, tanpa sebarang isu-isu, tanpa sebarang masalah-masalah teknikal dan sebagainya. Seterusnya, harapan saya bagi semua penonton-penonton dan juga peserta, bahkan ahli-ahli kumpulan saya sendiri, ahli-ahli kelas saya sendiri, AJK, termasuk saya sendiri, semoga program ini dapat memberikan kita sedikit sebanyak ilmu pengetahuan dan dapat membantu kita dalam mempertingkatkan kemahiran berbahasa kita, berucap kita. Sekiranya benda itu tercapai, memang sudah kami cukup bersyukur, kerana itu adalah matlamat yang kami daripada awal, iaitu untuk membuat program yang dapat membantu orang dalam meningkatkan kemahiran mereka. Itu sahaja daripada saya. Terima kasih dan Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih Faris dan terima kasih kepada semua yang terlibat, terutamanya kepada fasilitator kami, Sir Muhammad Syahrizal, kerana telah banyak membimbing dan memberi tunjuk ajar sehingga kami dapat menjayakan program Generasi Berani, Generasi Berpotensi pada hari ini. Ingat semua, jangan malu untuk berucap dan sentiasa beranikan diri untuk maju ke hadapan. Sekian, terima kasih.
Excuse me, sir. Hello. Who are you? Can you give me your name? Sir, please. Hello. I'm in peace. Hello, sir. Can you help me? No. You know who is me? No, I don't know who you are. Because actually, I am you. Well, actually, of course, I'm a bad guy in this story. So, why am I here? Let me make it simple. Look at you right now. You look horrible. I don't think there is someone who wanted to be a friend for now. I mean, you're just a piece of shit. Why? Nobody want to be a friend. I don't think so. Nothing. Absolute none. Stop, please. Look at you, right? Yeah, I know. You are a failure. Stop. And stop. Did you still remember that one day your teacher told you that you are too ambitious, but you are not that good? And you remember that whenever you trying so hard, but you still fail. It just doesn't matter. Everything that you do just went so wrong. So I think you're just someone that I can call rubbish. I'm so sorry, but obviously I am you, so I can say whatever I want. Yeah, sure. I know. I realize about it. I know how horrible I am, but things just not went very well for me. Every time I did it, it's just we're not going to my plan. Everything that I worked so hard just ruined just like that. I tried. You don't know how frustrated I am. You don't know how hard that I work to achieve something good, to achieve something to improve myself. But every time that I try, I meet failure. Things just not going to my plan, and I know I am worthless. Yeah. But here's the thing. I want you to stop. Stop. Why do you ask? I want you to stop doing whatever you do right now. Just stop trying so hard because it just won't work. It's not working for you, and then why you work so hard? Well, actually, I know I'm so, but if I can't stop right now. You literally know that every fucking day you're trying to read something new, you're trying to learn something new, you're trying to pass an exam, and you just fail. Every task that you do just meet a failure. As simple as that. I mean, you are a piece of shit. Why are you still working to be better? Because I know if I stop right now, there is someone who really support me. They will be so sad, and I don't want that. Because there is no way you can be better. Because you are the worst person that I've ever seen. Well, at least I still have a best friend. You know how sad you are actually. Because when I look at you, I realize that you have no friends. Not at all. No, they are absolutely my best friend. I mean, we take a picture together and we even have a group that together. Is that what you call best friend, right? You just make me laugh, obviously. Alright. I think you missed one of the most important points. There is a word that called pretending. They're not pretending. Stop saying something bad to my friend. You are a horrible human being. That is not your real friend. I mean,
They're just pretending to be your friend. Okay, do you still remember there is one moment where everybody, your friend of course, hang out together? They think if I can imagine a really clear, very crystal clear, the memories inside of my head, they are hang out together, karaoke, movies, and what is that? A moist cake on the table. That's your favorite food, right? But something is missing in this picture. Let me think about it. It's missing you. Yeah, you are the only one who doesn't. Who's not in there. I mean, look at how horrible you are. Nobody wants even someone you call best friend don't want to be your friend, of course. They just show how bad you are. I just want you to stop. You just stop thinking about it. But actually, you know what? Enough is enough. I think you're done. Stop talking. Just stop talking. Yes, I just realized something very important. You are the one that I created, right? So if I stop thinking about you, everything should be fine. And then everything will be okay. Okay, I know what I have to do. I have to wake up from this stupid dream, and I don't want to see your face. Even that is you or me, which is so weird that I say that I don't want to see. I mean, you know what I mean. I just basically I don't want to see you because I know that I have to do something. I just remember why I'm working so hard, why I'm trying so hard, and why I let people laugh at me. I let my teacher, I don't know what did my teacher do to me. They don't do anything wrong. I mean, they're kinda okay, but sometimes not okay. But you know why? Because I want to be great. I don't want to be a side character on my own story. And to do that, I have to work really, really hard. I want to be a main protagonist in my own story. If there is no way, and then I will be great one. And I promise you, I will. Look, if you had a one shot or one opportunity to seize everything that you ever wanted in the moment, would you capture it or let it sleep? Wait. Is that Eminem?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hari ini saya akan mendeklamasikan sebuah sajak yang bertajuk Wajah Jiwa yang ditulis oleh Nick Dahna. Beribu kali tersungkur, tika mengatur langkah. Kita harus bangun dari kecundang kerana di sepanjang musim kembara, air mata adalah syarat untuk bahagia. Kita bukan sesiapa upaya memujuk matahari, melimpah sinarnya sentiasa. Sedang sebuah kehendak adalah milik yang maha kuasa. Jika tersungkur lagi di hari ini, usah merintih lara kecewa, membiar remuk redam jiwa terbakar. Sesiapapun tidak dapat membaca takdir, walau takdir dirinya sendiri. Barangkali jurai air mata kelak menjadi karangan ke puncak jaya. Tercapailah seluruh cita. Sekian, terima kasih.
Pengucapan awam ialah ucapan didefinisikan sebagai satu bentuk saluran komunikasi pertuturan dan merupakan jenis karangan berformat yang menggunakan teks bertulis sebagai landasan penyampaiannya. Ucapan juga merupakan medium untuk menyampaikan mesej kepada umum melalui pemberi ucapan tersebut sahaja. Ucapan dapat difahami sebagai komunikasi sahala yang melibatkan proses pelahiran idea secara lisan yang diujarkan berdasarkan tema atau agenda majlis dan disampaikan secara individu kepada khalayak untuk mencapai matlamat serta tindakan sesuatu. Selain itu, maksud pengucapan awam ialah pengucapan awam merupakan satu kemahiran yang perlu dikuasai oleh semua individu. Kemahiran berucap juga memerlukan komitmen yang tinggi dan latihan yang konsisten untuk memastikan seseorang itu benar-benar menguasai kemahiran ini dengan baik.
Hai semua, Abaan kembali lagi dan pada hari ini Abaan tergerak hati nak bercakap tentang isu pengucapan awam. Sebab di Instagram, di Facebook, Abaan selalu terima soalan-soalan berkaitan Abaan macam mana nak berucap di khalayak ramai. Saya takut. Baik, untuk pengetahuan adik-adik semua, sejak dulu pun Abaan di zaman sekolah rendah, sekolah menengah, Abaan seorang yang sangat-sangat pasif. Orang lain semua ke depan tapi Abaan masih lagi di tempat yang sama sebab Abaan tak berani untuk ke depan. Nak memperkenalkan diri pun gugup, apatah lagi nak bercerita tentang topik-topik lain. Tapi Abaan pegang dengan satu sahaja prinsip, iaitu selagi kita tak mencuba, selagi itu kita takkan tahu macam mana hasil dan kesan dia kepada orang lain. So apa yang Abaan buat? Abaan mula dengan Abaan join pengawan. Abaan ditugaskan untuk membaca doa di tapak perhimpunan. Abaan pun baca. Awal baca tu memang orang Kedah kata ketak tak sangka lah. Tapi apabila dah kali kedua, kali ketiga, keempat, kelima membaca doa, bukan setakat Abaan boleh baca doa, tapi Abaan boleh membacakan doa dengan intonasi dan juga gaya yang sangat-sangat menarik. Sampaikan Abaan pernah perasan ada cikgu-cikgu, ada budak-budak yang boleh menangis pada waktu itu. Dan Abaan mula sedar bahawasanya Abaan ada kebolehan tu, tapi mungkin Abaan kena polish lagi. So Abaan nak share tips siapa yang dia nak confident untuk bercakap di khalayak ramai. Pertama sekali, mulakan dengan berbual satu topik yang anda suka, anda tahu kepada rakan-rakan anda. Tak kisahlah dekat sekolah ke, dekat mana-mana yang awak lapang dan berjumpa dengan mereka, awak kongsikan. Sebab di situ akan lahir kita punya confident level. Okey, sebab ada orang yang dia tahu something tapi dia tak nak kongsi, dia simpan. Lama-lama skill untuk dia nak berucap ataupun dia nak bercakap tu akan jadi sangat-sangat tak best lah kan. Yang kedua, kalau siapa yang dia nak tingkatkan dia punya confident level untuk dia nak berucap di khalayak ramai, Abaan nasihatkan supaya gunakan medium live di Facebook ke, di Instagram ke, cari apa-apa topik, okey, kemudian post dekat story, malam ni ke, esok ke, saya akan berkongsi tentang isu sekian. Dan esok awak live. Tak apa, bilangan orang yang view ataupun orang yang menonton tu tak kisah. Tapi jadikan 3-4 orang ataupun 5 orang tu kan, ayah dia, mak dia, pak belakang dia, jiran dia, 5 orang tu yang tengok live tu dapat sesuatu. Dan percayalah cakap Abaan, makin lama jika awak dah mula bagus, awak dah ada kemahiran, setakat cakap benda-benda yang macam tu, awak dah mahir. Sebab awak dah mula untuk membina keyakinan dengan latihan yang awak buat dekat live tu. Yang ketiga, sentiasa menginspirasikan orang lain dengan niat untuk nak menambah ilmu mereka. Sebab apa? Pengucapan awam ni bidang yang mana sangat-sangat menyumbang kepada kita pahala. Sebab kita pun tahu kan, apabila meninggal seorang anak Adam itu hanya 3 perkara dia yang dia akan bawa: sedekah jariah, ilmu yang bermanfaat dan juga doa anak-anak yang soleh. Yang nombor 2 ni, ilmu yang bermanfaat itulah yang mana kita nak kejar dan kita nak bagi pada orang. Mudah-mudahan dengan pengucapan awam kita tu, kita mampu untuk menyumbangkan kebaikan dan pahala untuk diri kita di alam sana nanti. So, siapa yang dia takut nak berucap, itu perkara biasa. Abaan pun takut. Sampai sekarang pun kalau naik pentas untuk acara-acara yang besar, Abaan nervous. Tapi disebabkan latihan yang kita buat, ilmu yang kita ada, pembacaan kita, pengalaman kita, dia akan mendorong kita untuk berucap dengan lebih baik. So jangan takut, cuba, sebab selagi anda tak mencuba, selagi itulah anda akan mengalami ketakutan itu. All the best to all of you, good luck, dan jangan jadikan public speaking sebagai satu ketakutan yang sangat-sangat besar. Sebab semua orang berhak untuk bercakap dan insya-Allah anda akan jadi pengucap yang baik. Jumpa lagi semua, bye-bye.
Bila kita nak menyampaikan sesuatu, kita perlu struktur, betul? Ini tuan-tuan dan puan, kita reverse balik ke muka surat yang kelima. Alright, muka surat kelima. The arts of public speaking. So, sekali lagi saya ulang, public speaking adalah satu aktiviti menyampaikan maklumat kepada sekumpulan audiens secara verbal. Dia bukan semestinya berdiri di pentas ataupun di rostrum. Dia sekiranya kita nak present sesuatu kepada staff kita ataupun siapa sahaja, dia dikira sebagai public speaking. So tuan-tuan dan puan, ada 3 struktur yang perlu anda tahu. Yang pertama adalah opening. Opening, pembukaan. Nombor 1, opening. Alright. Dan nombor 2 tuan-tuan dan puan, selepas opening anda perlu ada content. Dan yang ketiga tuan-tuan dan puan, perlu ada closing. So, strukturnya simple saja. Sekiranya anda ingin menyampaikan sesuatu ceramah ataupun perkongsian, yang pertama mesti ada opening. Yang kedua baru masuk content. Yang ketiga adalah closing. Dan opening ni tuan-tuan dan puan dicadangkan sebanyak 15%. Konten 75%. Closing adalah 10%. Dari segi apa? Dari segi masa. Dan tuan-tuan dan puan, satu tips yang anda wajib tahu, sekiranya anda ingin menyampaikan sesuatu, jangan terus masuk konten. Jangan terus masuk kepada apa yang anda nak share. Alright? Make sure ada opening. Dan opening ni tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, ini cadangan saya. Anda boleh membuka persembahan anda ataupun percakapan anda, pertuturan anda ataupun closing anda ataupun anda punya presentation dengan bercerita, storytelling. Macam tadi, ingat lagi pagi tadi saya mulakan dengan bercerita, betul? Cerita apa tuan-tuan dan puan? Ustaz Muhammad bin Abdullah dengan Abang Tentera, betul? So that is how kita buat opening. Ataupun teknik kedua untuk opening, kita open dengan soalan. Berapa ramai yang first time datang ke seminar, now everyone can speak. So kita tanya soalan. Yang pertama, opening, ini cadangan tadi saya adalah bercerita ataupun storytelling. Yang kedua adalah dengan tanya soalan. Dan closing tuan-tuan dan puan, saya tak nak sentuh konten sebab saya percaya tuan-tuan dan puan mempunyai konten anda masing-masing. Cuma last kali, ketiga adalah closing. Konten ni sebentar lagi kita akan sentuh sebab saya akan share dengan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan types of audience. Closing ni tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, berapa ramai antara kita yang pernah dengar, best lah Ustaz Muhammad ni berceramah, ataupun best lah Ustaz ni sharing, apa dia share, entah. Betul? Pernah terjadi? Sebab apa tuan-tuan dan puan? Kita kadang-kadang lupa dengan apa dia punya sharing. So, manusia ni mudah lupa, betul? Jadi, cadangan saya, untuk closing, kita berikan satu take home. Macam contoh, anda nak buat closing, anda dah sampaikan konten tuan-tuan dan puan, sampaikan ilmu. So, last kali tuan-tuan dan puan, sebelum saya tutup majlis ilmu saya nak share dengan anda 2 tips. So, anda tutup dengan tips. Ataupun anda tutup dengan doa. So, kadang-kadang orang akan teringat yang tips yang last kali tu. Alright, itu namanya take home.
Auzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Tuan-tuan dan puan, ramai yang tanya saya bagaimana caranya untuk kita menghadapi situasi di mana kita lost idea. Berapa ramai antara kita yang pernah menghadapi situasi kita sampaikan sesuatu, tiba-tiba kita rasa ataupun kita blank. Kita nak sampaikan sesuatu tentang produk kita, kita nak share tentang kebaikan produk kita, tapi tiba-tiba tuan-tuan dan puan kita dah lost idea, ataupun kita rasa tiba-tiba kita rasa gemuruh dan ya Allah, aku nak cakap apa lepas ni. Berapa ramai antara kita yang pernah menghadapi situasi tersebut. Tuan-tuan dan puan, satu perkara yang saya nak share tentang bagaimana caranya untuk kita menghadapi situasi sekiranya kita blank ataupun kita tak ada idea apa yang nak kita sampaikan. Cara yang paling mudah adalah transfer situasi itu kepada audiens anda. Alright? Caranya macam mana? Caranya adalah dengan bertanya soalan. Apa sahaja soalan yang anda nak lontarkan kepada audiens. Mungkin sekiranya tuan-tuan dan puan ingin berkongsi tentang produk, mungkin anda merupakan owner bagi produk kecantikan. So masa anda share tentang kebaikan produk-produk tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, tiba-tiba anda blank ataupun anda rasa nervous sehingga kan anda tak tahu nak cakap apa. So kita boleh ajukan soalan kepada audien kita. Mungkin kita boleh tanya, okey tuan, mungkin sekarang mungkin boleh tuan perkenalkan nama dan daripada mana dan boleh kongsikan apakah produk yang tuan sedang pakai sekarang. So tuan-tuan dan puan, tips bagaimana ataupun caranya ataupun kaedah bagaimana untuk handle situasi kita blank ataupun kita tak ada idea adalah dengan transfer situasi itu kepada audiens kita. Semoga bermanfaat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Do ba 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 do do ba do boo do a boo ba do ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do 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 a do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do ba do ba do a do ba do ba do 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 a do yeah.
Three, two, one.